Depswana, the joint venture with De Beers, which is a subsidiary of Anglo American. And moving away from there, real quickly, let's get to the global economy, where it's reported that NASA has launched satellite on mission to detect water on the moon. It's reported that a dishwasher-sized NASA satellite was launched into space from Florida to identify where water, a precious resource for lunar missions, resides on the moon's surface in places such as the permanently shadowed craters at its poles. Details of the stories and more will come to you on Global Business, and away from that, let's jump right onto the floors of our future exchanges. And like they say, charity begins at home, so we start on the floors of the Nigerian Stock Exchange this morning, where the NGX all-share index at yesterday closed on a low volume by 0.11% to close at 107,675.44 points. It may interest you to know that a total of 423,420,772 shares valued at 9,565,130,211 naira 79 kobo were traded across 11,112 deals with equity capitalization of 67,113,751,940 naira 34 kobo. Now we take a look at the biggest gainers and losers of the day. The biggest gainer of the day was Wanda, which rose by 10%. All the gainers were the likes of PZ, Honeyflower, Caverton, and Livestock. However, on the other hand, Fitson topped the losers list with a decline of 9.60%. Other losers were likes of ETI, Guinea Insurance, Prestige, and Sinua Shore. We could take a quick break at this moment, and when we return, we'll be looking at activities from other selected exchanges. I'm talking about the likes of the New York Stock Exchange, London Stock Exchange, the Chinese Stock Exchange, which of course comprises the Shenzhen and Shanghai exchanges. The Afia Business Morning and indeed Opening Bell will be right back after this time out. Stay tuned. You're welcome back to the Afia Business Morning, and you were watching Opening Bell. And we're moving on to the floors of other featured exchanges, and we're continuing with activities from the New York Stock Exchange this morning, where it is mostly rises in index values across board, except of course for the Nasdaq Composite and the Nasdaq 100, which are both down at 0.93 and 1.19% respectively. However, the NYSE Composite DJ is up at 0.71%. NYSE US 100 Index is up 0.47%. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up at 0.49%. S&P 500 Index up 0.76%. NYSE FANG TM Index is up at the largest margin of 2.10%. Away from activities from the New York Stock Exchange, let's go to the London Stock Exchange this morning, where it is, all dips, as a matter of fact, in index values across board. FTSE 100 is down 0.18%, FTSE 250 is down 0.96%, FTSE 350, FTSE All-Share Index both down at 0.11% and 0.10% respectively. And now moving on to Asia, China more specifically, starting off with the exchange at Shenzhen, where it is also all dips in index values across board. Shenzhen Composite Index is down 0.26%, ZSE Composite Index down 0.26%, China X Index down 0.52%. Now the question is this going to be the same order of events when we move to the exchange at Shanghai, still in China? Well, nope, it is not, because we have more rises on the Shanghai Exchange in China. The SSE Composite Index is up at 1.02%. The SSE 50 Index is up at 0.89%. Beg your pardon. The SSE 180 Index is up 0.94%. The CSI 300 Index also up at 0.87%. However, the Star 50 Index and the SSE 380 Index are both down 0.05% and 0.07% respectively. We're going another break, and this time when we return, we'll be looking at commodity prices as well as a consumer price watch in the open market. You may want to follow this program, join in on the conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Kindly tap in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business, and while you're there, do well to like and subscribe, as well as turn on notifications so you get to know each time we drop off new business-related content on that channel. The Afia Business Morning, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. My name is Ubon Kings.
I am Marvelous Apamaga.
I am Chioma Okbala.
My name is Ifunaya Ndule, but I'm living in market speaking.
Great to have you rejoin us. I am Ubon Kings. Still the Afia Business Morning, and you're watching Opening Bell right here on Afia TV. It's time to check in on commodity prices, and we will begin with precious metals. And incidentally, it's downward movement for gold today, and indeed all precious metals on the chart this morning. Gold is down at 1.52%, silver is down 1.30%, platinum is down 0.35%, palladium is also down 1.41%. Let's take a look at what's happening as far as energy is concerned. Incidentally, it's mostly dips, more of dips than rises. The only commodities that are up are natural gas, coal, and oil Brent, which are all up at 1.41%, 1.80%, and 1.48% respectively. However, ethanol is down with 0.96%. Oil bonylite is down 2.84%. Brass River and Kwaibo both down with the same value of 1.62%. Industrial metals is our next stop this morning, and mostly rises in index values across board, except of course for aluminium, iron ore, and tin, which are all down at 0.81%, 0.56%, and 1.67% respectively. However, lead is up at 1.48%, copper is up at 0.90%. Nickel and zinc also up at 1.57% and 0.55% respectively. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning. This indeed is Opening Bell. Do want to follow the program. Join in on the conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Can you type in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business, and while you're at it, do want to subscribe and turn on notifications for all business-related content. Up next, we will take a look the hikes of prices of food commodities in the open market, as well as the hikes in fuel prices and all that. I'll see you on Monday on the Opening Bell when the exchanges reopen for trading. The Afia Business Morning will be right back with Global Business. Well, we're going to be taking a look at business news stories around the world. My name is Ubon Kings. Stay tuned.
Time check, it's 2 p.m. and it's time for us to vibe, chill, and relax. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV. So Lunch Break is all about the music, it's all about fun, it's all about entertainment, it's all about entertaining gossip and stories from social, it's all about the latest trends, it's about what's lit, it's all about the games with our guests, and yes, in general, I like to say it's all about the vibes and vibes only.
It's great to have you, and it's great to know you there and rejoining me on the Afia Business Morning. Welcome to Global Business, and here we'll be taking a look at business news stories around the continent of Africa and indeed the rest of the world. My name is Ubon Kings. Welcome. But here are the headlines that we're tracking at the moment, and we're starting off from the continental economy, and of course we're talking Africa now. Well, it's reported that Botswana has secured enhanced 10-year diamond deal. And away from the continent of Africa, NASA launches satellites on mission to detect water on the moon. And from the pharmaceutical industry, Eli Lilly plans $27 billion in new plans as Trump threatens pharma tariffs. We'll bring you details of the stories and more right after this time out. Stay tuned. Great to have you rejoin us, and you're still watching Global Business right here on the Afia Business Morning, and we will begin with business stories from Africa, where it's reported that the Botswana government has recently finalized a significant diamond sales agreement with De Beers, marking a pivotal moment for its economy after 7 years of negotiations as it enhances the government's stake in diamond sales through Botswana, the joint venture with De Beers, which is a subsidiary of Anglo American. This agreement is expected to bolster Botswana's economic landscape, as the nation is recognized as the largest producer of diamonds by value and ranked second in volume following Russia. The newly established 10-year sales agreement stipulates that the government will receive a 30% share of Botswana's sales for the first 5 years, increasing to 40% in the subsequent 5 years, with a potential 5-year extension that could lead to a 50-50 split. However, in exchange, De Beers has secured a 25-year extension of its mining licenses in Botswana, extending from 2029 to 2054. Now, first off, if you ask me, to put this in perspective, really, Botswana really is currently ranked as the second largest diamond producer globally, with only Russia producing more diamonds by volume. Hold up, notice this. More diamond by volume. Now, the key point about Botswana diamond production is this: it is the largest by value. Get it? So it is only second by volume when compared to Russia. But when it comes to value, it's number one in the world. And Botswana, right, like I just said, is considered the largest diamond producer by value, not volume. Now, the economic significance of that is this: diamonds actually contribute significantly to Botswana's economy, making up a large portion of its exports and GDP. And of course, talking about the major diamond mines in Botswana, we have the Joang mine in Botswana, which is considered one of the richest diamond mines in the world. Now, if you ask me, I would say that Botswana pretty much cut themselves a great deal, because the story has it that this newly established 10-year sales agreement stipulates that the government of Botswana will receive a 30% share of Botswana's sales for the first 5 years, increasing to 40% in subsequent 5 years, with a potential, as it were, 5-year extension that could lead to 50-50 split. So in other words, hold up, now this looks like there's an increase in the, sharing formula, as it were, every 5 years. And every business wants that. I mean, grow from small to, big, right? And that's exactly what Botswana is doing with their diamond. And remember, as far as value is concerned, diamonds from Botswana is #1 in the world. However, in exchange, the company that's, pretty much mining this in Botswana, De Beers, has secured a 25-year extension of its mining licenses in Botswana, extending from 2029, which was supposed to expire, to 2024. Well, fingers crossed, we'll see how this pans out. Hopefully, Botswana will not be shortchanged, but then, of course, they should read through the lines and in between the lines and make sure the I's are dotted and the T's crossed properly so they don't shoot themselves in the leg. And moving on to other business news stories, but this time still in Africa, it's reported that Ghana is required to face billions of dollars in cost to restore vast stretches of degraded land and polluted water bodies resulting from years of illegal mining activities, where Professor Nana Brown Kulse, the acting chief executive officer of the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, described the situation as an emergency and called on development partners to assist in funding the country's reclamation efforts. Professor Kulse disclosed that a World Bank-funded project had facilitated the reclamation of some land, but only on the pilot basis, stressing the need for additional funding to scale up these efforts. Professor Kulse further emphasized the necessity of ensuring that all mining companies, upon securing permits, contribute to a bond that will be utilized for land reclamation, lamenting that many illegal miners had exploited vast areas and vanished without accountability. My emphasis will be on the last paragraph of the story. Now, according to the story, it does say that there is an emphasis on the necessity of ensuring that all mining companies, upon securing permits, contribute to a bond that will be utilized for land reclamation. Now, all of this stems from the recurring decimal, as it were, that Ghanaian authorities have recognized, and this is the fact that Ghana is required to face billions of dollars in cost to restore vast stretches of degraded land and polluted water bodies resulting from years of illegal mining activity. I couldn't agree anymore. And from my standpoint, I would say that there has been lamentations that many illegal miners had exploited, as it were, vast areas and vanished without accountability. So this step, to me, in my opinion, is one of the many necessary steps to contribute to a bond that would be utilized for land reclamation. We'll see how this pans out eventually. Remember also that the U.S. had at a point pretty much, stopped a whole lot of funding to specific projects, and pretty much this will be one of those projects that will be suffering, because it says that Ghana is required to face billions of dollars in cost to restore vast stretches of degraded land and polluted water bodies resulting from years of illegal mining activities. And remember, it was also clearly stated that there was a World Bank funded project that facilitated reclamation of some land, but only on a pilot basis. And remember, the U.S. President Donald Trump had pretty much cut a whole lot of funding to Africa, in fact, almost every nation in the world, right? And so we'll see how this pans out eventually, whether this particular thing was affected by it. I believe it has been affected by it. But then, you're still watching Global Business right here on the Afia Business Morning on Afia TV. If you want to kindly join this conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel, you can type in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. You can watch it live right now because we're live on that channel. Do well to subscribe and turn on notifications so you get to know when we put up new content on that channel. Up next will be more business news stories right after this time out. Stay tuned. Yeah, welcome back to the Afia Business Morning right here on Afia TV. You're still watching Global Business. Now to the rest of our stories. And we're moving to stories from the pharmaceutical world, where it's reported that Eli Lilly, an American multinational pharmaceutical company, is planning to spend at least $27 billion to build new manufacturing plants in the United States as it grapples with the threat of drug import duties from the Trump administration. The new plants will be built over the next 5 years and are expected to create more than 3,000 jobs for skilled workers like engineers and scientists, as well as 10,000 construction jobs, the company said at a Washington News conference. However, David Ricks, the CEO of Eli Lilly, said he hoped the government would exempt medical supplies from potential tariffs and continue to pursue further tax reforms, as the tax-cutting legislation introduced in Trump's first term had been foundational to the drug makers' domestic manufacturing investments. Now, this story to a large extent emphasizes the far-reaching effect of the threat of drug import duties from the Trump administration. Recall that Mr. Trump will stamp import duties on anything entering into the United States as a protectionist measure to protect local industries. Now, this clearly shows that, the pharmaceutical industry is not exempted. Well, to mitigate the far-reaching effects of a possible drug import duty from the Trump administration, Eli Lilly, which happens to be an American multinational pharmaceutical company, is planning to spend at least $27 billion to build 4 new manufacturing plants in the United States. Meanwhile, now, the new plants will be built over a span of 5 years and are expected to create more than 3,000 jobs, according to the story, for skilled workers, the likes of engineers and scientists, etc., as well as 10,000 construction jobs. If you ask me, I see some form of deliberateness by the Trump administration to ensure that the U.S. is, for lack of a better expression, is not exploited in any way by extension, force multinationals like this one that we talk about, Eli Lilly, to invest and possibly reinvest in the U.S. to avoid the possible tariff slams. But then there is this thin line between being protectionist and being over-protectionist. Well, we'll leave it at where it is at the moment, and we'll study to find out what will change eventually. And in an attempt to end this bulletin, let's bring you this story from aerospace. Okay, a dishwasher-sized NASA satellite was launched into space from Florida to identify where water, a precious resource for lunar missions, resides on the moon's surface in places such as the permanently shadowed craters at its poles. The Lunar Trailblazer spacecraft mission, weighing 440 pounds, would chart the availability of water, particularly in permanently shadowed craters near the lunar poles, where scientists are convinced a vast water ice deposit lies. Although the surface of the moon is generally considered to be dry, there have been few occurrences of water on sunlit surfaces in the past. As the focus of this mission, however, is the cold, shadowed regions that are permanently at the poles of the moon. Now, all these bars and fours, frankly, to me, it's pretty much about something that even the first astronaut claimed never happened. I'll just leave that and say that pretty much would be a story for another day, isn't it? Anyway, Money Control tells us more as they took on the time to share how NASA launched satellites on mission to detect water on the moon. Let's take a look.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. Go Falcon, go to ignition. Vehicle is pitching downrange. And back ignition.
Gas pressure.
Confirmed.
And here comes stern separation.
And for that entry burn, we will relight 3 of the M1D engines on the first stage, starting with the center engine, followed shortly by the engines next to it, which let's watch stage 1 come back home.
Landing light deployed. Stage 1 landing.
Juan, John, and Yo May. So, if you think we can do that and get at least a
Chimera.
we will have an OEM for them. Priority right now is Singapore. Chimera, right?
Well, we'll follow up with the stories as well as other ones, and as they unfold and keep you in the loop. And you may want to get to our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel by typing the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. While you're there, do hit the like button. Remember, you should subscribe, turn on notifications as well, so you get to know each time we put up new content on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning Radio and Afia TV. Coming up next will be the Eastern Business Report. Where we're going to be looking at the conversations we've had in the past week. The Afia Business Morning. We'll be right back after this time out. My name is Ubon Kings. Stay tuned. Yeah, welcome back. It's still the Afia Business Morning, and on today's edition of the Eastern Business Report, we'll be looking at conversations from the Afia Business Morning. And we're going to be looking at conversations from, it's basically the week in retrospect, however, conversations from the, talking about specifically the Abia State Scrap Metal Registration Process. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at the relocation of EC Gate traders in Abia State and its impact on local businesses and community growth. We'll also take a look at businesses and demolitions, whether or not it is a necessary evil to urban development. And then finally, we'll look at the Enugu landlord and tenant law. Yeah, with emphasis on the real cost of rent really is. Now, this will basically form the basis of our session here this morning. My name is Ubon Kings. Welcome. Welcome back. So we begin. On Monday, Marvelous Apomaga was here and played host to Henry Chingoba, who is the Executive Director, Which Way Nigeria. And the issue of Abia State scrap metal registration process was extensively looked at. Let's see excerpts from that particular session real quick.
So I would like to say that this is a good development. It's a good move by the Abia State government. We've always encouraged government to be involved in every aspect of society. And now in waste management, just like we have always advocated that there are different stakeholders who should be carried along by government. I see this as a move by the Abia State government to engage with the stakeholders, the scavengers as a stakeholder in the waste management industry. Because if you do not regulate the activities and know the people who are engaged in this business, they keep spoiling no matter how beautiful your policies are, these guys keep becoming the spanners that are being thrown into your work. So you need to get to know them, get to register them, and even map them so that you can hold people responsible when things happen. And know the kind of metals in which they deal with. I know they are going to come to that. What kind of scavengers? Scavengers, if it's a wide world, what do you pick up at the waste point? How do we help you get it properly? And how do you also not destroy the work that we are doing? I think this is the kind of engagement that we are asking every other state in the country to emulate. So I say kudos to Abia State government. I think is a step in the right direction. So how can this help to curb theft? If you look at what is mentioned in that memo by the Abia State government, they said that you should come with your CSC registration and your Abia State registration. I don't know what that means. I don't know if Abia has a database for people who are residents in Abia State. But that's what they are requesting for. Now, if they are able to have that, what it simply means is that they are able to map where you are operating. And if anything happens within the environment in which you are operating, the people that operate with this, scrap collectors that are operating within the environment are held responsible. So I think this also helps in bringing accountability into the system. So if you ask me, the move by the Abia State government to register scavengers, scrap collectors is a good one. How it is going to help to solve the issue of theft is that if within a particular locality, let's say using Enugu for example, let's say at New Haven, we have 10 scrap collectors and scavengers within that environment. And within a particular street in which XYXZ scrap collectors are operating, certain things go missing. They are called to account for it. So they also become interested in monitoring and understanding who comes in there to pick up trash and who goes out. So if within the area in which you operate, we observe, the Abia State government observe that their waste collection points are always scattered, these people are held responsible. So they would also help the state government to police the waste points and ensure that nobody comes there to dispose of waste anyhow. So these are good things, these are good steps, these are good policies that we are saying that state government should emulate. These are stakeholders, bring stakeholders involved in the system, and they would help you build it because they are the ones who have different interests which they have to protect. So also give them the platform to exercise that, and then you would have a smooth running system in the end. Well, if they are required to pay tax, we would advocate that the state government make it as reasonable as possible. Paying tax is not a problem, but making the tax affordable or commensurate to what the person is doing is what we are encouraging. And also, if you look at the current system in which people are employing in terms of waste management, rather it is the waste to wealth system that is being built. So governments sometimes even aid the persons who help them to collect this waste by giving them some stipend to help, especially for plastic waste. But for metal waste, I think it's going to be a different business entirely, because that is a huge resource for the people who are collecting the metal waste. So the government would also have to disintegrate the different type of waste collectors, the scavengers, what type of waste they collect, and categorize them in that manner to tax them, not a blanket tax for everybody.
Oh, well, on Tuesday, Ferdinand Akoma, Special Advisor, Media and Publicity to Abia State Governor, was hosted by Marvelous Pomaga also. And the issue of the relocation of EC Gate traders in Abia State and its impact on local businesses and community growth was the focus. Let's see excerpts from that particular session.
Well, the essence of the planned relocation, the relocation has not actually commenced, but the process is very much on. In line with our, strategy of engagement, in line with our methodology, we always like to provide alternatives to our people before taking any action, that has the propensity to disrupt business and other economic activities. So the essence of the whole thing is to ensure that the glory of Umuahia is restored, or will I say uncovered, because this is a state capital that Umuahia is legendary, has been there for several decades, but then it has suffered this negative reference of being a glorified village. So because the governor is investing massively in the area of infrastructure, striving to turn both Aba, Umuahia and Ohafia to modern cities. So that is part of the vision. So the government decided to build a standard market in Umuahia where the traders that are scattered around the EC Gates, because EC Gates is actually the heart of the state capital, but it is an eyesore. So because we want to provide alternatives, for our people to use as markets and carry out the legitimate business activities, the government decided to build that new market at Okulaga and now move all the traders at EC Gate to that place. So it's also important to know that what the government is doing is actually very holistic. And just close to that EC Gate, there is a place that the former Umuahia main market was situated, and which was demolished some years ago, and relocated to somewhere that called Obani Beku. Unfortunately, is not actually fit for a market of such magnitude. And because of that, it doesn't enjoy the necessary patronage. A lot of people refuse to go there. So it became a problem. So that place that the original Umuahia main market was demolished, government is presently building a transport terminal there. Okay, and that is being handled by a reputable company, the Planet Project. So they are building an ultra-modern transport terminal at that part of Umuahia, It has been fantastic. It has been very positive. In fact, if you go there and speak to them, you will see how they are expressing joy and excitement. Because the government is not coming to remove them illegally and throw them away and tell them to go and look for wherever they will stay. In line with the way we've been operating since this government came on board, a land has a massive land at Okulaga, which is a strategic area, just about 10 minutes drive away from the present EC gate. The government has gotten a land, paid compensation to hundreds of community people, cleared the place. As we speak, the government is fencing the place. So, these things, this place will be developed in collaboration with private investors. And by the time the market, because the whole thing is going to be completed this year, by the time it is completed, the traders will now be moved to that Okulaga, the new market. So because nobody has come to chase them around, nobody is threatening them, is giving them a deadline to say you must leave by so dates when there's no alternative, they are not bothered. They are following the activities of the government. They know the trend. Just away from that DC gate, there is a road called that used to answer Osa Road, which is nicknamed now named Aguirosi Boulevard. Houses were demolished. People were paid compensation. The road was expanded and built. Nobody protested. Nobody complained. Government is not carrying out any demolition of any kind, because these are all, people say that umbrellas and containers and all those things and block the roads. So the environment is just now sitting. It's a now sitting spectacle. So it's a favor that the government, because government is now going to build lock-up shops and empty shops, empty spaces where traders will be peacefully relocated to. So nobody's paying any compensation because nothing was destroyed rather.
Jerry, you will take a short break, but before then, kindly join in on the conversation. And you could see most of these videos on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/Afia Business. And while you're there, do well to hit the like button and turn on notifications so you get to know each time we put up new content on this YouTube channel. The Eastern Business Report returns in a bit. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Eastern Business Report, right here on the Afia Business Morning, live from Enugu State, Nigeria. I am Ubon Kings. And just before the break, I was sharing with you conversations that were birthed in the course of this week. I did highlight that on Monday, Henry Chinwoba, Executive Director, Whichway Nigeria, was available to discuss the issue of Abia State's scrap metal registration process. And on Tuesday, the conversation revolved around the relocation of the East Gate traders in Abia State and its impact on local businesses and community growth, with Ferdinand Ekoma, Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the Abia State Governor. And now, moving on Wednesday, with Emmanuel Chime, the focus was on business and demolitions, whether or not it is a necessary evil to urban development. Let's see excerpts of that session with, of course, Marvelous Apomaga.
Okay, thank you to be in two ways here. Well, let me start with saying that, in life, whatever you talk about development, or you're talking about, having a different result from what used to be, then you'll be ready to make some sacrifices. It's in degrees, okay? And so in this context, in what we are seeing today in Enugu, it's part of that kind of sacrifices that comes, emerged. When you talk about infrastructural development, a lot will have to give way for a new result, to get invented. And so that's the kind of thing we are seeing in Enugu today. But whether they are actually authenticated by master plans or maybe personal thoughts or maybe personal discretions, we're here to get to know that. Let me proxy to what I said up in the issue. I said, whether it is in line with the master plan or personal discretion, it becomes another case scenario altogether. All right? So now one will be asking, does it mean that we don't have a standard master plan in Enugu? But that one is one question. But does it mean that that standard master plan, that the infrastructure that comes attached to the master plans or in line with the master plans, why must it be that at a time another person comes up and begin to demolish what we have spent a whole lot of fortune, to establish barely a few years ago? For instance, there are some bus stops within the Enugu metropolis I have seen, in the past weeks now being brought down. Now we begin to ask, does it mean that they are now old? The answer is no. Does it mean that they are substandard? I don't think they are substandard. They don't on their own fell down. We don't see them as being substandard. But why would it be that the government of the day is now bringing them down only but to bring forward his own design? I wouldn't, because the other time, remember, there was some discrepancies, some upheavals. An artist had to sing a song as at then, some few years ago, while the SY governor Afia was there in the office, and he took him to court. He took the young man to court. The guy is actually from our area. He sang a song saying that Ugwai have siphoned Enugu because of how many millions of naira for per bus stop. As at then, 10 million each bus stop. Cost us 10 million naira to establish that. And today, the same bus stop that cost us 10 million naira is being brought down. Not because it is old, not because it is dilapidated, not because it is leaking. So why then are we bringing them down? Only but to spend another fortune. And after spending another fortune, we don't know the next person that is coming, whether that person is going to work with the design we're having today. These are where it becomes an issue. A lot of people start raising some nagging questions about what the government is doing. But if our government, when they want to bring some innovations, whether we're going to make some huge sacrifices, yes, we're going to make. But when this type of a thing is happening, we begin to question these sacrifices we're making. Is it really right? Are we just wasting our resources? Why should it be that a governor just fixed the bus stops recently, and today we're having another governor who is just redesigning and bringing forward another structure that we don't even know if this particular structure is going to stand the test of time? Because another thing here is this. I have spoken as well on air, right here on this platform and in some other radio stations. I have spoken, of course, on the governor to go and ensure that the structures is bringing to place, in the states, is actually the one that will stand the test of time. Because we've seen where they are just building it, they have not even finished the building, and they are collapsing. For instance, like the roads that are being tarred, they are not durable, they are not strong, they are very shallow. I mean, the lightest of gauge. Then you see them developing potholes. While they are yet walking, you see them developing potholes, very dangerous potholes. More of like it would have been better that they did not even do anything at all on the roads. All right? Then you see the curbs. That is the block that they used to do the curbs, right? The marketing where the road is making use of and where pedestrians are making use of. Then you see them after being laid down, then at a time, it doesn't take up to 2 months. You see them breaking off. Not as if someone is making use of Monday hammer on them. But just maybe you kick it with your bare foot and you see it breaking off. Then just to tell you that they are making use of substandard materials. And so the one that they are building or bringing about the bus stops, the new bus stops, how sure are we? How sure are we that those ones are that of high quality?
Oh, well, on Thursday, Alex Obodo was at hand to play host to Aniche Ndudim Roland, the financial analyst and the CEO of Rugon Capital Limited. And the focus was Enugu landlord and tenant law, with emphasis on what the real cost of rent is. Let's see excerpts from that session.
First of all, we need to trace back what is driving all this practice. People are agents, landlords are looking for ways to make extra money above the rent to like augment daily needs. And so people are trying to survive. And so you will see all kinds of what we call, it has triggered animal spirits, behaviors amongst individuals. Within that behavior, you see the greed index rising. And so the policy, this bill is in the right direction. Let's not even rule out the fact that last year, before the last administration exited, Malami and the legal profession came out with an ethics or a rules where all legal documents, fees for which will be 10% flat, irrespective of the amounts. And so when I saw this, I was in a WhatsApp forum where I raised an issue. What's the with the lawyers? For goodness sake, how will you guys charge 10%, even on rents or legal or rent agreements or lease agreements, even when that of estate surveyors is 5%? In fact, it's as if all hell was let loose. And that's okay. Since you guys more or less like you've ambushed estate practice because of the position of you drafting legal agreements, and you have the judges to back yours, let's see how the thing will roll. So this bill, I think, will come, is more or less like bring sanity to order. And since it placed a cap on 10%, so everything anybody needs to do in terms of real estate business, agency, lease agreements, land sales, everybody has to conduct themselves around that 10%. So it's a good bill, a right step, right direction to create sanity in the agency market. Unfortunately, it's only in Nigeria, I don't know, maybe other African countries, where agency practice, there's no rule or law regulating it. Everybody runs into it. In America, you call them realtors. It's a clearly professional practice. In England, it's also estate surveyors. So you don't just jump into it. You have to be trained and you run into it. You even have another class of people that present themselves as facility managers. And we're not like, what is happening? You see, it's a field that's been balkanized by all. The idea of a caution notice. Yes, every building, immediately any building is erected, it starts undergoing depreciation. And so even within the tenancy agreement, there is an obligation of the tenants to take care of repairs inside the building, while the landlord takes care of repairs outside. It's clearly stated. Unfortunately, most people are ignorant of tenancy agreements and the rights and obligations, or they don't even read it, even when you give it to them. So it's a right step in the right direction. I want to join my colleagues, the state chapter of Nigeria Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, to put in more inputs. By the time there is a discussion and like the public discussion on it, where it will be properly harmonized, then these things will be really spelled out. And I also read the case of there will be registered agents. That has to be known. Even as a registered agent, there are reports you need to send to EFCC on the sales you make, the source of the income, everything, the transaction, everything about it. So, and EFCC has a data of registered surveyors within Enugu State that practice, because you have a case where you need to a SCOMO number to present SCOMO. So you see, these things has to be properly regulated and managed so that we bring sanity to the real estate practice, and also bring succor to the tenants. I'm also a tenant, while I'm also a landlord in Lagos, and so I'm always very careful in issues like this, because there's some things you do when it gets to the court, you will be messed up completely. You also have cases where landlords take advantage of agency fees, caution fees, legal fees. They eat it up, and I'm like, hey, this thing is dangerous. You also have tenants. You also have agents also taking advantage of landlords' fees and lawyer fees. So people have to be very careful with the way they handle transactions like real estate transactions, because it becomes to a legal case, the lawyers will make a mess of you completely. In fact, if it's found that you're not a lawyer and you prepare a legal agreement and you take advantage of the legal fees, you'll be kept behind bars.
Oh well, on that note, I dare say that this will be the size of the package today on this business report. You may want to go to and follow to see full episodes of this particular cutaways that we did on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Coming up next is Only Afia. My name is Ubon Kings. Thank you for your time. Good morning.
Welcome to Afia TV, your go-to channel for excellent news and incredible shows that keeps you IEI, that is, informed, entertained, and inspired. Need a break?
Ladies and germs, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
Join Choco to vibe and chill on Lunch Break at 2 p.m. for the latest trends in music and entertainment.
Not like I have big money.
Dive into the world of innovation and creativity with Rochelle on Anka.
It means art in English.
Where creative minds and groundbreaking ideas come to life. Tune in every weekday at 8 p.m. Do not miss Afia TV Official, your perfect dose of laughter, where they discuss what is currently trending on social media every day at 5:30 p.m. on Afia TV.
But in this economy, the savings will save you, man.
And that's not all. Stay tuned for more exciting shows on Afia TV. Catch us on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17.
Good evening to you, viewer, and welcome to Women in Business, a show that profiles women, executives, and even the next door store owner, showcasing Igbo greatness to the world.
I started always obsessed with books ever since I was a child.
The stress of always converting naira to dollar and
an incompetent means an incompetent person.